Freaky Friday is a 2003 role reversal movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, pre-Crazy Days. The concept, repeated in several other versions, was that the mother and daughter were suddenly reversed. The mother was in the 13-year-old's body and the daughter was in her mom's body. Of course, such a switch set up a great deal of confusion and consternation until finally corrected. Did you know that the Bible has a very unique take on the concept? When Moses was told to set Aaron and his sons apart as priests before Jehovah, Exodus 29 verse 1, they were to bring a bull and 2 rams as sanctification sacrifices. For each sacrifice, they placed their hands on the head of the animal in order to be identified with each animal before it was killed. That's in Exodus 29 verse 10, verse 15, and verse 19. In a sense, they were enacting a role reversal. They deserved to die for their sins, but the animals would die in their place. Before they could assume their roles as priests, this process was carried out for 7 consecutive days, in Exodus 29 verse 35. This process wasn't limited to the priest either. Every Israelite who brought a sacrifice had to lay his hand on its head as a symbol of the role reversal. The guilty sinner identified himself with his substitute. The New Living Translation, which I seldom use because it's really a paraphrase, captures the idea well. Lay your hand on the animal's head, and the Lord will accept its death in your place to purify you, making you right with Him. Leviticus chapter 1, verse 4. Why make them go through such an elaborate role reversal process? Well, all of this was to convince the people of the awful nature of sin, as an innocent animal had to die because of their sin, and because they were constantly having to offer new sacrifices, make them long for something more permanent. Well, here's where it gets freaky. On a Friday about 2,000 years ago, the permanent sacrifice was made. The perfect, faultless sacrifice figuratively placed his hand on the head of the imperfect, faulty sinner and voluntarily gave his life for us. The Hebrew writer carefully built that case by showing the Lord's identification with us in chapter 2, verse 17, as the tempted but sinless high priest, chapter 4, verse 15, who replaced the Levitical priesthood, chapter 7, verses 11 through 17, and cleansed sin with one final sacrifice, chapter 7, verses 26 through 28. Now that's a role reversal only God could have conceived. Well, Morning Minutes in the Bible will be back as usual, bright and early tomorrow morning. Until then, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.